Let's talk about a lot of things that are going on in the DCU, and specifically how Peacemaker is putting together all of these pieces and bringing things together so we kind of understand what the new DC universe is, new actors, and new characters in the DC universe that will be appearing and or teased in Peacemaker Season 2. This is the video where we're going to cover all of it. So by now, I think everybody is fully aware of the fact that Peacemaker is a DCEU show, aka it is part of the Snyderverse continuity as it's become known. Now, of course, the project had nothing to do with Zack Snyder or anything like that, and technically it's just a DCEU project, but either way, it's obviously a leftover of the old universe. With director James Gunn coming into the DCEU directing The Suicide Squad, which first debuted Peacemaker, and then Peacemaker Season 1 in that same universe, Peacemaker Season 2 going to the DCU is going to be somewhat problematic for many people, because, again, they are bringing the character into the DCU proper, but they need to take elements, reframe them, establish what's going on, explain certain events from Season 1, how can those happen in Season 2, and more so, they really need to focus on making sure that everything makes sense, because there are characters and events from Peacemaker that go to other pieces of content. For example, the crew that works with Amanda Waller, who's in Peacemaker, and the Suicide Squad play an important role in Black Adam. Now, of course, there's no way that The Rock and Black Adam and all that is going to be canonized, so again, they gotta play with things very carefully. Which brings us to quite possibly the biggest scene in Peacemaker Season 1, which is the Justice League showing up. So, believe it or not, that scene is canon. To a degree. Okay, so let's talk about this. So, did the Justice League appear at the end of Peacemaker? Yes, they did. Peacemaker Season 2 will establish that those events happened, except here's how they're going to be dealing with them. So, what they explain is that we will get a previously in Peacemaker. And what happens is essentially we open up with footage from Season 1 that canonizes everything they show. But then when we get to the Justice League scene, that scene plays out sort of the same, but it is called a imperfect memory. So what's been stated and what people who have seen it have explained it as is essentially they recreate the ending of Peacemaker with the Justice League the same exact way, but now instead of seeing the DCEU Justice League, you see Mr. Terrific, Superman, Green Lantern, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, and Supergirl. And to keep with the running joke, everybody besides Guy and Hawkgirl are in shadow. Because obviously, like Peacemaker Season 1, Henry Cavill was not back at the time, so Superman was in full shadow along with others. So they're going to do exactly that. They do the same exact thing, they play the same joke out, but now we understand that the imperfect memory is in fact not how it's remembered and how it was shown in Season 1, because they reframed it for Season 2. Now, furthermore, there's also other things that they're going to be talking about from Season 1. If you guys remember, they mention the existence of Green Arrow. They also mention Batmite. Now, these things are allegedly not directly going to be anything that they take super seriously and bring to the forefront. They're not going to automatically show us Green Arrow. But little things like that are something that they're aware of. And from what James Gunn has told people during the premiere and in subsequent interviews, is that they are looking at it a bit at a time. Essentially, you got this piece here, this piece there. When we canonize it, if we bring it back up, then consider that part of canon from Season 1. And moving forward, you're going to see a couple more things like that, especially in the second half of season 2 of Peacemaker, that further emphasize this loose canon and how they're aiming to adapt things. But there's another couple big things in this series, such as the debut of a couple of new DC characters, such as Huntress and, well, Captain Atom. So since this is a brand new DC universe and James Gunn doesn't really have to worry about any crazy embargoes as he's the man along with Peter Safran calling the shots, they got free range to do what they want. And doing what he wants is the name of the game. We've heard multiple times that Palm Clementif, Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy, will be joining the DCU. We also know that there is a fully Korean-made Huntress film in development with a Korean director. Well, per multiple reports, Palm will appear as Huntress in Peacemaker Season 2 to set up her solo project. And it's been stated that if you're looking forward to major Batman connections or anything like that, they're going to be light on that. Yes, she's a member of the Bat family, but they're not really going to focus on that here as her project lives outside of Gotham, so they don't really need to explain anything in regards to that. But next up is one really unexpected character, and that's Captain Atom. So if you're not familiar with Captain Atom, his powers and abilities, welcome to OP the Person. He's so powerful, he's pretty much got everything. Time travel, time manipulation, anti-magic, flight, immortality. If you could pretty much describe a godlike character, that's Captain Atom in the DC universe. Multiple reports have now suggested he is in Season 2 of Peacemaker, but we don't know to what extent. Which will be very interesting because, again, that's a pretty powerful character to bring into your universe, but I assume James Gunn can balance that well. And speaking of balancing well, and this is the last part, elements of Ayer's Suicide Squad, we don't know what ones, but apparently a couple of characters will further be canonized from that film and some specific events. Again, we don't know who exactly, and reportedly this is in the back half of the season that nobody has seen, but they allude to it in the first few episodes that were shown. And reports are suggesting that this is going to be a definitive yes and or no on the future of Harley Quinn and what happens with that whole story. So again, the season and the rest of it all airing this fall or going into fall will be with us rather soon. So stay tuned because it's an exciting time to be a DC fan, as this is really a universe that they seem to be putting a lot of care into and really want a competitor to the MCU. And by looking at Superman, they already got one. Thank you for checking out that video, and thank you for your continued support. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, do whatever you will, and if you're so inclined and would like some additional content from us, which includes unfiltered content and bonus discussions, we do offer exclusively in our member section. We hope to see you there. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.